Okay, tonight we're going to cover chapter 10, the law of the rubber band. I think this was, I feel like I keep saying this, it was my favorite chapter. Every chapter I go, I'm like, this is my favorite chapter. But the one thing that I loved about this chapter was it's a visual reminder. Like we can visualize what a rubber band looks like, right? Like, and I went to YouTube. I was looking for something. I watched a video. Some woman was talking. She was being interviewed, and it was referencing the law of the rubber band, but that's not what it was about. And I cannot find it. But in my midst of looking for that, it was such a great thing I wanted to share with you guys. I watched a couple others, and I just love this visual image that we can see for ourselves of like, hey, this is our comfort zone. This is our rubber band. And if I was like really clever, I would have got one beforehand. But I didn't have time, and if we grow and we stretch ourselves and we grow a little bit more, we do stretch that rubber band, but it's so easy to just go back to that comfort zone and forget about that. But thinking of that visualization of like, if we continue to do it, the rubber band, the elasticity grows, and the rubber band actually does and can continue to grow. And that's something that I can see, and I'm a visual learner. And I feel like that's something that really stuck out to me in this book, this chapter, and how I can really relate that to just my business and a little bit about my life too. The move over the last year, like, I had to really stretch that rubber band a lot over this last year. And I can tell that I've grown because of that. I'm even more confident, believe it or not, and like walking around and talking to strangers and more people because of the move. So that's just my 2 cents. I would love to hear what you guys thought about the chapter, and then we can kind of talk about some key points. So anyone want to chat about it?
My favorite statement was only mediocre people are always on top. Like, what was that again? I forgot what it exactly said, but I really needed to hear that, because sometimes I push myself so hard of trying to have everything all the time and to make everything all the time, and then I stress myself out with it and I get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm going to stick that on my mirror in the bathroom just so that I can remember this every single day, that it's okay to not have everything all the time, because we don't want to be mediocre. So
yep.
So I love that part.
And I think it's okay. Like he was talking about just like stepping out of your comfort zone. And I think it's okay to feel that stress or to feel that uncomfortability when you are stretching the rubber band. We get so scared when we're feeling that, or we have that fear of like continually pushing ourselves. But it's okay to feel that, because I know that what I'm like, a challenge that we're going to do next month is going to freak a lot of people out, like, and have that like, oh my gosh, I don't know that I can do this, but you can. Like, it's something that is totally doable. You have to take it in bite-sized pieces and slowly stretch that rubber band, little bit at a time. I won't be asking you to do it all in one day. That's not what it's about. And I can really think about times when I have been challenged in this business, for example, this week, and waiting on customer service and all the issues that I've been dealing with. I went shopping with my mom on Monday, and she goes, does your phone always go like this all day long? I was like, no, Mom, it's Cyber Monday, lots of customer service issues, and I'm on so many groups that have like 20 to 40 people on it that it's like ding, 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 ding. I mean, I had it on mute and it was still like buzzing all day. So it's, there's times where you do have to just grow and just forget about what, like, what's going on, and then realize after the fact of like, this is all going to be okay. This is good stuff, but in the middle of it, you're like, ooh, frustrating, What else? What else did you guys take away from the chapter?
I'll go. So there was one part, and it connected more to me opening my eyes up a little bit more with what my dad does. On page, 167, where it talks about with business professionals, how they're always kind of trying to recreate themselves, and they're trying to always make themselves seem better. I have conversations with my dad all the time. He's not a college graduate, yet he's worked up the corporate ladder. And he tells me day to day, if I don't make myself better than the average Joe, then I'm not going to be there. You know, they'll find somebody else to replace me, someone with a college degree, someone young that is more thriving. He's like, I have to always go above and beyond. And I was reading that, and that's all I thought was my dad. That's my dad's life right now.
Yep. It's true. I mean, I think about that just in like being a mom, right? Like we have to be better as our kids grow. We have to like expand those, you know, our knowledge. And the part, was it in this book? Because I was reading something earlier today, but about how people read and like college graduates only read, was that in here? And like, they don't touch a book at like 40% don't touch a book after they graduate college and all this. And I feel like when I became a mom, like I've read more since I became a mom than anything, because I just felt like I needed that, like that growth and that expansion and that, you know, just additional knowledge to continue to grow as a parent. And I mean, same thing with what we're doing right now, this personal growth. This may not feel uncomfortable. Like you may not feel that like, oh, I have that tension. But one thing that I loved about it, and it kind of talked about it at the end, was, you know, if you let go of that tension in that rubber band, you get back in that comfort zone and you're fine. I mean, how many times have you guys in this business got a little tired or worked really hard to hit a goal, and then you got really kind of, okay, I'm gonna take a breath, and now you're back in that comfort zone and you're like, I haven't reached out to anybody for a week, haven't talked to any of my ambassadors, I haven't really done much. It's so easy to lose that tension. But if you're doing, you know, if you reach out a week, you're doing this book club, you know, once a week, you're on a team call and you're doing a little bit, there's enough tension weekly that is keeping you active in your business that you don't get back into that comfort zone and settle. And I think that's the biggest thing that we need to see in our ambassadors, in our customers, in our relationships is, oh my gosh, I can see that person's lost their tension, you know, like in that rubber band. I mean, it just made open my eyes, even to my customers. When I haven't talked to someone in a while, I'm like, I haven't heard from them and they haven't sent me a message and I haven't talked to them. I guarantee you they're not drinking their water, or they've missed, or they've blacked off. And sure enough, you pick up the phone and they're like, oh, I was doing so good. And then this happened, and then this happened. And, you know, I got a message today and it was like, I really wanted to take advantage of that sale because I love a discount, but I've been terrible. I've been so inconsistent. I have so much product. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, but for so long you were doing so good. But I let go of my attention on that rubber band and stopped following up with them. And they stopped following up with me. And they got back in their comfort zone and their own way. And so did I. And so I just think as far as a business perspective goes, like we always have to have some kind of tension going, some kind of work build up, some kind of, you know, just activity going that keeps the tension on there so that we don't slide back into our comfortable, happy spot. So anyone else want to add some more?
Well, I'm stretching really hard. I have that team dinner scheduled for Saturday, Becky. Don't forget if you can.
Yay!
So we're doing that, and believe it or not, it's very uncomfortable for me. I don't know. That's really hard.
To go to dinner with Becky?
No, not because of Becky. Just in general, you know. I don't know, whatever.
Planning and
and I registered for Super Saturday, so that's it.
You registered? Is that what you said? Sorry. Yay!
Yes.
Do you get to go to one, Rona? I know it's off subject.
Yeah, I think about going to Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
3 hours from me.
That's great. You'll have to let me know. I will have some people there from Chicago, like on my sideline team. I know anywhere you go, I'm sure I'll be able to find someone, you know, for people to just meet up with. I think I don't know if Erin Courtney is going to be able to go. I haven't asked her yet, but she would be going to Columbus too.
I have my team meeting on Friday with the Michigan peeps, and so I'm gonna ask them if they want to do a ladies or team weekend away. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna be totally up for it, but I'll check with them and see what we're gonna do.
Awesome. That's great. Cool. Okay. Anyone else on the chapter? Just insight? I love just the very beginning. It's author unknown, of course, but it says God's gift to us, potential, our gift to God, developing it. And I think about that all the time. If you have not settled in to knowing like that you have potential, like just that inner belief in yourself that I can do something more, we've got to find that. I thought a lot about this in this chapter about the why is what obviously drives it. A big why has to still be personal. I talked about this on our why team call. It still has to be personal. It still has to come back to you, because it is not motivating to get up and work or to stay up late and work for someone else, because that person could make you mad that day, right? Spouse, kid, you don't care about the money today. You're just throwing your hands in the air. Like, those things are easy to give up, but it's very hard to give up on yourself. And so it needs to be that personal, like, I have potential. I have a gift from God. Like, I need to know that, and I have to pursue that. And I think when we talk to our potentials, ambassadors, anybody, we need to help people see that, like, where my favorite thing, I was actually going to quote it on the team page tonight. Hold on, let me find it. It was so good. It says, if you are merely average, or if you're no closer to your dream this year than you were last year, you can choose to accept it, defend it, cover it up, or explain it away. Or you can choose to change it, grow from it, and forge a new path. And I totally just go back to that, like, potential, gift. Like, are you going to use it, or are you going to have an excuse for it, right? Like, are you going to pursue it? Are you going to let your dream big dreams, or are you just going to say, okay, I'm just going to see how this goes, right? What are some other things you found, or quotes, anything in the book that you loved?
Well, kind of going off of that, Tracy, like on page 169, I don't know, that page kind of spoke to me, just the quote, a possibility is a hint from God, one must follow it, kind of going like along with what you said. And I don't know, as far as the Plexus business goes, I mean, I've just always had that like intuition about it, just kind of that, I always say, like, that little God wink, that feeling to go forth with it. But, sometimes too, I was like looking at that page, and it was talking about, let's see, like, people who exist on the good side of the gap live in the land of the permissible. They do what's okay. They follow the rules and don't make waves. Do they make the difference that they could, followed by the law of the rubber band? Like, sometimes I know with myself, I think I'm always like, I've kind of sometimes always been like that. Like, sometimes, I think I told you before, like, there's moments where I'm like, almost like a fear of success in a sense, where it's like, oh my gosh, like, you see these leaders, top leaders in Plexus, like, I don't know if I could ever do that, or, like, you almost, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I just kind of, that sort of resonated with me, like, on that page, where sometimes I get in the way of myself at times, I think, and, not allow myself maybe to, at times, I don't know, see the potential in myself that I could have, kind of thing. So I don't know. I just sort of, that page sort of struck me a little bit.
We were talking at small group the other night about persecution, and how, like, sometimes we feel persecuted by speaking of your faith or talking about certain things, but in all actuality, most of it is self-imposed persecution. Like, you're doing it to yourself. Like, you may be feeling judged, or you may be feeling like you shouldn't say something, and you're doing it to yourself. Like, you shouldn't feel like you aren't allowed to have success, like, just the people that you need to follow are people like Melissa Eckenhorst, for example. Like, she did a live yesterday, I think, or maybe it was today, that was just absolutely awesome. Just talking about what Plexus has done for them and what their team has done and how it's changing the world. Like, it's changing the world, like what their team is doing. And you have to believe that you have the capability to do that. Like, I mean, what was it? It even said it in here. It said, what's fantastic is that the change within us challenges us to make changes around us, and our growth creates a belief in us that others can grow. When that happens in an environment and everybody is stretching and growing, the indifference is replaced with make a difference. And that's how we begin to change our world. And I mean, that's my vision for the team. Like, that's what I see what can happen. Like, that's the team potential. And when you start to, like, create that belief in yourself or what's around you, you create that for others, like, just the prime example, Carrie, for you, like, taking Tara to Leaders Retreat. Like, you've always believed in her. Now she believes in herself. It's a ripple effect from the top, and wherever it says it's talking about, Do you have a mentor or someone that can encourage you? Do you know what I'm talking about? That's in here somewhere. I don't remember where it is, guys. Anyway, we all know the point of it is just talking about, like, if you don't have that in you, you've got to find someone who can help you either discover it or point it out for you, right? And sometimes that conversation can be with your spouse, and sometimes it might not be. Maybe it's with a really good friend. Maybe it's with a teammate. Maybe it's with me, you know? Like, I know it took a lot of other people recognizing it in me to make me see it in myself. So maybe that's something that we all need to do too. If you see that in someone else across the team, tell them, you know, like I'm a words of affirmation person. Like, that's my love language. So if I were to hear something, it builds up me. That's just how I work. So if I were to have like a power partner tell me thank you for something I did for them or for their team, it builds up my confidence and my belief in myself. Just like if I were to reach out to you, Carrie, and just congratulate you on your PV or whatever you've done, like, I know that that makes you feel worthy of what you're doing and that it's worth it, you know? So if you see that across the board, you see that on your team, maybe we need to be doing a little bit more of that, of like shout out to someone, reaching out to someone, because it's really how it builds this culture of people wanting to grow and wanting to like stretch out of that comfort zone. Next.
I really like the part, and I don't know what page it's on because I'm on my Kindle. But it's like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not what I want to be, but I'm not what I used to be. I haven't learned how to arrive. I've just learned how to keep going. I really liked that part.
So good.
Just because, like, I feel like I'm constantly evolving in all areas of my life, as a wife, as a mother, as a teacher, you know, in Plexus. And I feel like persistence is something I'm good at. It's just where that persistence is focused each month. Like right now, it's kind of a funny little story, but my son is supposed to be graduating on December 16th from college, and he was home over Thanksgiving. And I'm like, you have everything, like everything's good, right? Like you've got your cap and gown. Like, you know, I took him shopping to get like dress clothes so he could interview. And he's like, yeah, I think I have a cap and gown. He goes, I just don't remember paying for it. So I'm not sure if I really have one. So I'm like, okay, for like Monday, like that's your priority, is to make sure you have a cap and gown. Like you are going to graduate on December 16th. And so it's just a funny story that I was like texting my dad tonight, and he's like, yeah, I ordered him this pair of dress shoes that he wanted. And I'm like, great. I'm like, cause you know, I've ordered him all this stuff. And he's like, now we just need to get him interviews. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, this is my dad's words, which is kind of funny coming from my dad. He's like, you need to jack him up, because he doesn't seem like he's really that interested in interviewing. And I was like cracking up, because my dad's like, you need to jack him up. And I'm like, do you not know my son? Like, have you not known him his entire life, that he does one thing at a time? Like, he is never under tension. My son is never under tension. Like, this rubber band theory is beyond him. He's like, he just does one thing at a time, and he's like totally his father in that aspect. I was laughing hard because I was like thinking about this chapter, and I'm just like, this does not apply to him at all.
Well, you can totally rub off a little bit of that, like, you know, all you're learning out of this and growth, and pass a few of these, honestly, these quotes. You guys, how many quotes were in this chapter alone that you want somewhere in your house? Like, I've said this 1,000 times. This is the one mom fail I have. Like, I want positive quotes, scripture, sticky notes, note cards in our house, in my kids' mirrors. I've not done it, but all this stuff can totally relate to our kids. There's another one that I thought my son needs to know, because he is, I think I've talked about that on here, but he's a naturally negative person. Like, he can shoot a basket and miss and think he's the worst basketball player ever and should never play basketball again. Like, he just goes down a horrible path super fast. And I think it was on here that I was telling you guys, but like, it made me cry like a week or two ago. Like I just broke down and I was like, how is this possible? Like, I don't have some grand like story of like where I come from or what I did. But truth is, I grew up small town. I grew up without a lot of money. I went to college. I had a dream. I had a dream of being a consultant after I graduated college. I traveled around the country. I'd never flown in a plane until I went to college. Like I'd never done anything. I'd never left the Midwest. And I got on a plane in August after I graduated and traveled week by week around the country by myself. Like I tell him those things and I'm like, but I didn't do anything but want it and go for it. Right. Like, and I think that's something that's in my mind that I can't see why he doesn't have that, right? Like I need to put all these positive things up or these quotes and really pour that into him and help him change that mindset, just like we all do. Like it's not naturally there that you all want to be diamonds. Like you do, it's a dream, but like I want it, I'm going for it. Like sure, I have my setbacks, I have my issues, whatever, but it's a mindset thing. And the one quote in here is instead of wishing, wanting, and waiting, people need to search inside themselves for reasons to start. And it's not like, okay, I need to start my job or like start working harder or, you know, it was talking about like whether they want to have weight loss or whether they want to change a job or whatever. Like you just have to start somewhere. And that's kind of what I was talking about with my son. I'm like, you just started basketball. This is his first season playing. You're in the 4th grade. And of course he feels defeated because everyone knows more than he does because they've all played before and he hasn't. But it's just like this, like just because I've been in this 2.5, 3 years doesn't mean that I know everything, nor do you guys. You know, we're in this together and we're constantly growing and we're constantly restarting. Every single month, I feel like it's a restart for all of our businesses, right? The restart with some tension on that rubber band so that December is different than November or January is going to be different than December is, you know, like we get that opportunity to restart every single month. We're entrepreneurs. We get that opportunity where a lot of people don't. But yeah, I loved all these quotes in this book. And there was one more. If you guys don't.
Hang on, I wanted to say something real quick about that mindset thing. I mean, I think it has something to do with self-esteem in people in general to have that mindset because the world and your surroundings and, you know, maybe support system even can be very negative even though they are not aware of it. Like me growing up, I've always felt I was different. I've always thought like I always wanted more than others. And I've been always told, like, you know, you're never happy, you're never, you know, this. So it was always with this little bit of a negative touch, even though my family loves me and they support me, but it's always this little bit negative touch of everything I've always wanted. And it wasn't until Plexus that now all this fire, what I've always had inside of me is actually what's needed and wanted. And you know, kind of like where I finally feel like, oh, wait, hold on, I got a spot now. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, I guess, you know, because somehow all these years when I felt this is where it comes together. But I mean, to just be able to do that is so scary. And for people to keep going is so scary. So I think, you know, it's way more than just trying to say, you know, just think of, you know, change the mindset. I think we need to help people to change that mindset. And I relate with you because my daughter is the same way. Like, and I know it's not, it's somehow within a person because I know I'm very positive with her all the time. I try to, you know, tell her and instill the self-esteem, but some people do negatively think about that. But yeah, I think it's really like core belief and self-esteem into people and try to get that going that way. Sorry, I went off on a tangent here.
No, it's so true. And like Chris always talks about, like I always say, well, I'm the positive or optimist and he's the pessimist, you know? And he always says, well, I'm the realist. Like he's like the logical thinker. Like if we're going to be late for something, he's like, well, we shouldn't go. We should just not go instead of showing up late. And I'm like, well, at least we'll be there. At least we'll, you know, like we both look at things totally different. And I think that has a lot to pass down onto your kids, you know? And I really don't know where it comes from with Parker. I just think he's a firstborn. He's a perfectionist, and it's very hard for things to like not happen right away for him. But he's teaching me so much just about like how I talk to all of them, and you know, even myself. So one more thing is the greatest stretching seasons of life come when we do what we have never done, push ourselves harder, and reach in a way that is uncomfortable to us. And I've been there definitely. It's my April through July was the hardest I've ever pushed myself outside of a comfort zone, outside of say something with the biggest fear of failure. To say I wanted to go Emerald and the fear of not making it was the scariest thing I've ever done, truthfully. But it was also what made me like reach for something that I felt was a little bit out of it was far beyond my reach, but we still did it. But it was something that I actually reached for. And so that was that rubber band for me. And I definitely felt that like, okay, super big stretch. Now we're coming back down. And now I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable. And I have felt this way just in the last few weeks of being like, okay, I can breathe again, but now it's time. Like you just kind of get those feelings, and hopefully you all experience that, you know, to where you can see, okay, this is what it feels like here when I'm stretched and when I have that tension, and this is what it feels like when I'm in that comfort zone, and that's not where I want to be, you know. So hopefully we can just kind of continue to recognize those feelings within us. The last thing I just want to leave it on, and you guys can add anything too, is excellence has the potential to spread in the same way that mediocrity does. And I think that has so much to say about culture, like team culture, what they feel, what they see, what they experience. Just honestly, you guys, like our team's attitude about this customer service stuff, about this change, it may be, you know, quiet little venting here and there between a couple people. Like I know it happens, but overall as a team and as a culture, I feel that we're handling it very well. We're not bringing each other down. We're not like letting negativity spread on the team page. We're addressing it front on or head on. And I hope that, you know, the wanting to serve others, wanting to help others, the just opportunity for what this business can do for our family is the culture that continues on this team. So that mediocrity doesn't settle. I don't want people to be like, I'm here just to make a little extra money. I want people to be here dreaming big dreams. Like I want people to see the potential in themselves, to push themselves beyond where they are now and believe that they can hit a goal. Because when you hit a goal, even if it's going silver, you guys, going silver is huge. When you do that and you're like, I just went silver, what's that mean? Okay, let me do that again. You know, like it feels really good. So I just loved this chapter. Any last minute thoughts about it?
Excuse me. I just loved this. It was super simple. He's talking about it's difficult to focus on the past and change in the present. And then he says they had a little plaque that said yesterday ended last night. And I think that that's something that like we all could use, that, you know, we can be hard on ourselves about different things, but it ended last night. Just keep moving on, you know, do that start that you're talking about, so it was just something really simple, but that hit me.
Yep. Absolutely. I love it. Whoa, echo. I think that was about it. I loved this chapter. It was so good. Anything else? Yeah.
I want to add something personal because this chapter really made me understand my husband better.
That's good. We're growing.
He is the perfect example of a rubber band. And there was the one sentence in there, if you don't stretch yourself, you're not successful. And he has his whole life, he has been traveling, living in different countries, doing different jobs. He was always on the ants in his pants. And he still does that, and he drives me insane. Okay? So, and he always wants to stretch himself, and he still does it. And, you know, he starts his own company, and then he's trying to do other things, and then he's going to expand the company. And I'm just like, oh, gosh, hold your horses. But it's so cool because now I'm like, oh, here's the rubber band stretching itself, you know? So it makes sense. So, and also the other thing is like Stephanie, what you were saying with the negativity. He always comes across to me that he's negative. He's not. It's never enough, you know. And because he wants to grow and grow and grow, even though he has reached already so much. He's 61 for everybody who doesn't know my husband, but so he has already gone up there in his profession, and but he's still, and he will never retire. He can't. His brain is not wired to do that. But yeah, it was very knowledgeable. It got me lots of insights from my husband.
That's awesome. I love it. No, I think it's great. This book can help us in our business, in our personal life, in our careers, in our marriages, parenting. Like, I love this book. It's been so, so good. So, okay, can you all do me a favor? Can we take a picture where you hold your book up? I know. Picture. You have to.
Oh, Stephanie doesn't have the book.
I listened to the audio, sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
You want me to send you a picture of the book and you put your phone up?
Wait, hold on.
You have your Audible, don't you?
There you go.
Put your Audible thing up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Hang on. Okay, hang on. 1 sec. There.
All right. I love all the reflections. Oh my gosh, that's super bright. All right, smile.
Yes.
Hold on, my camera. There we go. All right, let me see if I got it. Oh, no, cut your head. Oh, no, I did get it.
You can probably do a screenshot too. Screenshot.
How do you do that on a computer?
Command Shift 4.
Well, then where does it go?
There's print screen.
No, wait a second.
Stop it.
Control Shift 4.
Hang on, I can take one and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, Command
Okay,
Shift
everybody
4, I think.
smile.
Okay.
Oh, wait a sec.
Okay, got it.
Oh, cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I Googled that.
Awesome. Oh, hold on. I gotta stop the recording.